Very expensive, but this is already one of the best Azur Lane figures this year. Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Steven with your weekly figure news fix. This time around 16th to 21st of February 2026. For this week, we have a lot of genuine scale PVC figures on pre-order, but fortunately, on the third party side, there is barely anything new, like less than 10 new figures, because the third parties, or rather the Chinese, are on holidays. It is the Chinese New Year week since Tuesday, in fact. And over in China, their Chinese New Year break is at least 7 to 10 days, sometimes up to 15 days. So many of the companies are still on holiday even by today at the time of publishing this video. So hopefully this won't go on for way too long, because Good Smile Company is relentless this week. I have no idea how many new scale figures and pop-up rates they put on pre-order this week alone. It feels like there are at least 10 new Good Smile figures this week alone. Yes, and not just that, as you can see the thumbnail of today's video, we have a lot of Azur Lane stuff to go through this week. Koto Bouquet is joining in. So without further ado, let's move on to our first section, which is Hobby Link Japan for genuine licensed PVC figures on pre-order this week. And we have only 2 pages of stuff over here on HLJ, but for some reason it feels like there are a lot more stuff than usual. I'm not too sure why. Maybe it can be deceiving sometimes, the number of pages over here. And starting off with the largest scale as usual, we have 1x4 scale B-style Azur Lane St. Louis Bunny version by Freeing, 35,000 yen, August release. Okay, so this one, you know what? Well, she looks fine over here. She looks pretty nice. And for once, the bunny outfit design is kind of nice. Yeah, I actually like the blue and white color over here. It fits her really well. And one more thing would be, will this figure be secretly cast off this time around? I'm not so certain, because, you know, her outfit is like squeezing her opai tightly. There is some curves around the edges of her outfit. So if you were to forcibly cast off the 2 pieces on her chest, then her opai will have like creases, will have outlines of her outfit. Does not look very nice. So even if you can, I would suggest not trying that with this figure. But as usual, Freeing is pretty good with faces of anime figures. No problem with the faces over here. And the price point for this is somewhat reasonable, though who knows. She might go on a discount a few months after release. That often happens with Freeing Azur Lane stuff. Moving on to the next 1x4 scale here by Alpha Max. This one is, it is like borderline Hadaka, borderline 18 plus figure, yet it is not, just because the Nyan down there is not visible. Alpha Max 1x4 scale Azur Lane Kearsarge Dakimakura version. We saw this in One Fest. 36,000 yen as well, January 2027 release. So you're buying this for the backside, obviously. To me, this Azur Lane figure is showing a tad bit too much skin to my liking. I know that everything about Azur Lane nowadays is fan service, but this is a tad bit too much. Yeah. Sometimes, right, not showing too much skin is hotter than showing way too much, if you get what I mean. Yeah, which is why sometimes a partially undressed person is more attractive for the same reason. And this one, well, being Alpha Max and how tight her outfit is, I'm also not confident that this one is cast offable on the front, even though her nips are almost visible over there. So this one, for this specific Kearsarge figure, this is like Freeing level, both in detail level and in pricing. I am not going to give Alpha Max some additional sugarcoating and tell you guys that this is better than Freeing. This time around, it is not, right? Okay, moving on to the next one here from Freeing again, 1x4 scale Kobayashi's Dragon Maid Kana Barrel Bunny version, 27,000 yen only, because she is really short and releasing this June. 4 months away. Probably the figure is already in production even before they started taking pre-orders. That is the only explanation over here. So Kana is also one of those few characters, together with No Life's Shiro, that will make SJWs on Twitter, on Instagram, go on a frenzy when they find out about figures like this existing. But you guys know where I'm getting into, so I don't have to describe that in detail. So for people who missed out the first release of this Kana figure, I would say it is still a nice purchase because unlike many other game or gacha characters or anime characters, Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is kinda popular for an anime and manga character. And number two, there are no alternatives out there for 1x4 scale. So this is the only option you have. Moving on to the next section, we have a lot of 1x6 scale figures this week, just like last week. And I do apologize for missing out on this Chi figure from Chobits last week by Magic Arts. This went on pre-order last week, but yeah, I left her out by accident because, sometimes when there are too many figures on pre-order, mistakes to happen on my part because sometimes the figure disappear from the search result on Hobby Link Japan, and then I forgot about the figure even existing until way later or until someone reminds me about it. So let's talk about her for a second over here. Magic Arts 1x6 scale Chobits Chi Deluxe Edition, 24,500 yen, January 2027 release, and there is a regular version for 22k, but if HLJ is showing us a closed eye for the deluxe version, it is pretty obvious at this point that we are getting two different faceplates for this one. So obviously, I don't have to tell you about this one. You need to buy the DX version, right? Chobits is a really old anime. I watched it back in college, but that was so long ago, more than 10 years ago. I barely remember a thing. But if I remembered correctly, this girl is not a human. She's an android, right? Yeah. This must be either late 1990s or early 2000s anime. It is that old. And Magic Arts, you know what? Nice work with this one because this is among the best looking Chi figures out there. I think there was another Japanese brand that put her on pre-order a few months ago where she is sitting on the light pole or some kind of really tall pole. I can't remember what brand. That one was a bit weird to me. This one is a lot nicer. Right. So let's move on to the next figure here. This is a quick mention. She went on pre-order last week and I covered her on Ami. Cozy Surprise Azalea by Animaster, 9,400 yen, September release, now available on HLJ. And also this one went on pre-order weeks ago on Ami, and now HLJ is only offering it. 1x6 scale Momoko illustration by Hokiboshi by Uma Musume, 25,000 yen, releasing this September. That is an okay price for 1x6 scale, and with this kind of prop and base, I think that is a really good price. But Uma Musume stuff has never been expensive. In fact, their stuff are quite good value. So moving on to the new stuff this week coming from VK and Chinese brand, yes. 1x6 scale Sophia F showing wetsuit version, almost 28,000 yen. That is a lot of money for this Sophia. November release. Because, the Magic Arts version, which is already on pre-order for months, is slightly more expensive, around 30,000 yen? But that one felt a lot more sophisticated and detailed. Not writing off this one yet. I don't think this is really nice. Wetsuit with, obviously, her assets, her opai being an important feature, and those science fiction parts behind her, very nice. But the Magic Arts version felt like better value. Not only you were getting more details, but that one was kinda partially castable. You get to display her with her opai exposed. Just that I can't remember whether that was 30 or 33,000 yen. But yeah, I would still go for the Magic Arts version first if I can. But this is by no means a bad figure. She looks kinda nice actually. My kind of thing too. And moving on to the next 1x6 scale, Akuma no Riddle, Haru Ichinose and Tokaku Azuma by Magic Arts again. 24,500 yen, 1x6 scale, two figures, less than 25k. So 12,500 yen each. Oh, that's very cheap. February release. Yeah, we are only getting a couple of JK figures, but Magic Arts does not make low budget PVC figures. You need to remember that. So this is like low budget PVC figure territory, except it is a premium scale figure, and look at the heavy shading on the hair of both characters. This is premium scale figure level quality at over 12,000 yen each. Insane. So this anime, I mentioned it before in my OneFest coverage. Go and watch it if you haven't done so. But the best part about this anime is not just about the plot, but rather the music is really nice. The soundtrack, yeah. And every episode, literally every episode had a different ending song. That's not something you see nowadays because of the amount of budget needed. So this is a bit like a scene you see from the anime or manga, then they adapt it into a figure. I would like to see more stuff like this. Yeah. So Magic Arts, it seems like they are going for anime characters a lot more than usual. They are not like other brands playing it safe, sticking to Azur Lane. I like what Magic Arts is doing. Oh, it is based on this artwork. Okay. I know that these two girls were fighting to the death like a death game over in the anime adaptation, but this is from the artwork. Fine. Moving on to the next one here, Union Creative. Wow, their stuff are getting really expensive nowadays. 1x7 scale, the Idolmaster Shiny Colors Kogane Tsukioka Sailing Sailor version. 27k for a Union Creative figure. October release. Though I did mention in my One Fest video once again, their figures appear to be getting better lately in terms of refinements and detail. There is a lot of detail going on in her uniform, but sometimes I do feel like the price increments are inevitable because the Japanese yen keep weakening. Sometimes I still feel surprised by how much lesser I was paying for my anime figures in the recent few months after doing the conversions. I overestimate the amount I spent by a little. Yeah, that is how weak the Japanese yen is, so they had to compensate by increasing prices. I think in just a couple of years, 30,000 yen is going to be the norm for premium 1x7 scale figures. That is the sad part. These product pictures are really nice. The only question is, can they deliver? Right? Union Creative is a bit of a hit and miss. They have really good figures, and they have also those that are kind of like QC issues with paintwork. So this one is a bit of a gamble over here, even though the product or the official photos here look pretty promising. Moving on to the next one from Hannabi, Chinese brand. Used to make low budget figures, but now they are getting more into premium figures, but not too expensive at the same time. I like that. So we have 1x6 scale Darling in the France 02, 19,000 yen, October release. I'm liking this figure a lot already. We have Schoolgirl, JK, a nice bag which is very detailed, and a chair. All of this for under 20k. That is a really good price. And I think this is already like my third favorite 02 figure. Number 1 is the Max Factory Hadaka one. Number 2 is the Aniplex one, which is pretty rare now. And this should be a solid number 3. And no, I did not like the Kotobukiya one. Yeah, it was small, even though it is 1x7 scale on paper. Though she is cheap at least. That one was re-released once, but I'm liking this a lot more. I think 02 is pretty nice in a school uniform outfit. Okay, I'm moving on to the next one here. Oh, this is probably my favorite Union Creative figure in the past 6 months or so. I wouldn't say the past year because they had a really nice Shinjo Akane figure, right? 1x6 scale last year. I'm not sure if that one is already out. I don't think so. But this pair of Momoi and Midori figures, oh, they are so adorable. And 1x6 scale at 25k. I feel so unfair right now. Like I'm being unfair to Union Creative or being unfair towards Idolmaster. Maybe the licensing cost for IMAS is expensive because that shiny color figure earlier, it felt expensive. But for some reason, I'm trying to justify the price of these two figures over here at 25,000 yen each by saying they are 1x6. But they are 1x6, but these two are lolly characters, so they are pretty small figures. 25k they are on the expensive side. But maybe because I like Blue Archive characters, so I'm a bit biased over here. Once again, fabulous amount of detail, and I do have a friend who was trying to modify his BJD or Dolphy to follow this Midori and Momoi design. I like it a lot. I like these two figures a lot. Just that I don't have enough confidence in Union Creative, but I guess that for fans of Blue Archive, you should still pre-order them. Right? There are no other figures of these two characters yet. These twins over here. Very adorable. Moving up next, okay, I've covered this figure in an advertisement in my Kotobukiya Collections video, but let's go through her again quickly. 1x6 scale Girls Frontline to Exila Macchiato Huaying Jong version. This is WA 2000. April release next year. at 22,000 yen. So back in my Kotobukiya collection video, where I did an advertisement, a paid advertisement for River Studio, I said that this one at 1/6 scale, 22k only is a really good price, right? And a few days later, by now, I'm still saying the same thing. A lot of stuff going on for 22,000 yen. So I think this is like a must-have for girls frontline fans. There are other WA 2000 figures. I do know that Fat Company has one, but that is like swimsuit, right? Or wet shirt look, right? Not as detailed. This thing is a tier above that one. And I think there are at least a couple other figures of her, but I'm liking this one a lot already because it is a full package. It has everything, detailed base, accessories, her weapons, and so on. So this is a very nice figure from River Studio. Moving on to the next one, 1/6 scale Azur Lane Unicorn White My Angel. Union Creative again. Man, Union Creative is putting a lot of stuff this week, but how come did I not notice it earlier? This is almost 34,000 yen December release, and that is bloody expensive for Lolly character. I know that this is a pretty complex figure, a lot of parts to do the molding, right? I think this won't alone. This thing she's holding, there are at least 5 or 6 parts over there. There are many parts in this figure, which is probably why this figure is so expensive. But you know, Lolly character, not a big figure. I have mixed feelings about this one because on one hand, I do think this is the best unicorn scale figure. Better than even the one by Alter, that's right. But the Alter one is a simpler figure at a lower price. This is perhaps the most sophisticated figure of unicorn yet, and she does come with 2 faceplates. Of course, you go for this faceplate because it is unique. I'm not sure what to think about the price over here. I do feel a tad bit conflicted. So what do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Is the price justified over here for this unicorn figure? Moving up next, Azur Lane again, 1/6 scale MDen. Then you get this Moon Silver Union version, black and white, the same character, 2 different colors as a set for 40,800 yen by any game. January release. And you can get them separately or you can get either one. I wouldn't say separately, but you get either one for 20,400 yen. So no discounts over here if you buy only one figure. Either one. So I usually tend to say that I always get the deluxe version. I always get everything because I have FOMO. But in this case, I'm not sure if I can justify getting both. I'm sure there are many people who are going to order both the deluxe set over here because they do not want to miss out, right? They want the whole set. They want completion. Yeah, completing the set. So I can understand that feeling because I have a very strong feeling of having everything with the figures I buy. So I don't understand that sentiment. But in this case, we are basically buying the same figure twice just because of her outfit being a different color. So what do you think? I'm not sure, man. If I were to review the figure, then I would obviously buy the DX version because I need to see what the quality is like on each version. But if we are talking about solely for collection purposes, I'm not sure if I can justify both. Yeah. And in this case, this is a tough choice, but I'm leaning towards the black color version ever so slightly because black and gold goes really well together. Yeah. Okay, moving on to the next one. We are not yet done with Azur Lane, and this is one of the main highlights this week. Kotobukiya 1/7 scale Fritz Rumi Schwarzes Karnin Chen version. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. Azur Lane, September release for 34,800 yen and releasing this September. And you know what? I felt so prophetic when this figure pre-order opened a couple of days ago. If you watched my Kotobukiya Collection 2026 video, the event coverage, what did I say in that video? Do you still remember? I said that my prediction for this figure was between 33 to 35,000 yen. A very specific, a very narrow range. I predicted 33 to 35,000 yen before taxes. And I said that Kotobukiya, they release their figures really quickly, within 6 to 8 or 9 months. And both are true for this figure. Damn! I suppose this is the kind of thing where you can predict with relative accuracy when you have been collecting figures and monitoring the figure market for so long. So this one, the pricing is exactly as predicted, and I'm not surprised because of it. So should you get one? This time around, I'm going to say get one because even for Barney Girl figure, there are a lot of stuff going on over here. This is no ordinary Barney Girl figure. That so far is beautiful, and she comes with a sword. So what is there not to like? This is also a complete package figure, like how I described that Reverse Studio Girls Frontline figure earlier, because she has everything covered. So this one is very expensive, but this is already one of the best Azur Lane figures this year, though we are only 2 months into the year. Moving on to the next Azur Lane figure, more of it, and this is also an excellent figure we saw in One Fest. Guam Stage Setting Charmer by Max Factory, 25,273 yen, releasing in March 2027. And I do like this one a lot. This is a bit like a crossover between Barney Girl and also Idol outfit. Very tastefully done. I like it. And personally, I do prefer Azur Lane figures like this over that Kearsarge earlier at 1x4 scale, which is barely wearing anything, like showing just the right amount of skin. This is the kind of figure I like. And coming from Max Factory, you can never go wrong with this brand. They are extremely consistent in quality. Moving on to the next one, finally, something else other than Azur Lane. So this is also a major highlight this week, and it is so surprising that a Wuwa figure is being made by Furyu. We have Furyu 1x7 scale Phoebe from Wuthering Waves, 21,500 yen, releasing this December. And this figure is made in collaboration with Prometheus, not mentioned here, but if you look at MFC, it is mentioned over there. So even though I have doubts about Furyu, if Prometheus is involved in this one, I think chances are this one will turn out really nicely. And one of you in my Discord server did mention that her face is very accurate. It couldn't get any better than this, and I do agree. I think Prometheus' involvement has something to do with it. Though, please, Furyu, please do not F this up. I really wanted this figure, right? I do like Phoebe's character design a lot. I do want it, but currently, I don't have enough confidence to pre-order it early. I shall wait until after release, and if she does sell out in Japanese websites, hell, I can go to Chinese websites and hunt for her over there. So, I'll wait and see. I'll wait for this figure and see what she is like after she is out. Because some Furyu figures after release, the actual figure looks a tad bit less refined, less detailed than what the official pics promise. That is my concern over here. But this is the kind of figure where I would expect a Chinese brand to make. Brands like Mietos or even, who knows, Hannabi, right? Hannabi is making Wuwa figures as well. So, Furyu making this is pretty surprising to me. Moving on to the next one, Furyu again. We have 1x7 scale Marianne from Goddess of Victory Nikke. 24,000 yen, November release. 24k is a tad bit pricey, but maybe I shouldn't be complaining because suddenly she feels a lot cheaper when I compare her to Flair's 1x7 scale Red Hood. This one, right, this figure over here, if she is like 20,000 yen, that would be perfect. In my opinion, 21,000 yen perfect. This is a tad bit too pricey, but we'll see, right? Because I don't feel like getting 1x4 scale for Marianne. Yes, the one by Freeing at 1x4 scale, 40,000 yen. I don't feel like getting 1x4 for Marianne, but 1x7, the same exact figure but smaller, maybe. Because this figure, you look at her outfit, there are a lot of details going on, and that is my kind of thing. I love details, right? Oh, this waist region over here, that is something I really love to see in anime figures. Just that, please, Furyu, please get her right. Right, moving on to the next figure by Apex Toys, 1x7 scale V-Singer Luo Tianyi, 12th anniversary version, 37,500 yen, April release next year. So I absolutely have no interest in V-Singer. This is an easy skip for me, but Apex Toys seems to have no reservations anymore with pricing the anime figures really highly because they have now built a certain kind of reputation where there are a lot of nice things to be said about them. Though I do think their consistency could make do with some further improvements. I can see why this figure is 37k. I can see why. It is expensive, but I think it is justified. Moving on to the next one here from Q Skill, we have 1x7 skill free run Beyond Journey's End. Aura the Guillotine. 22,800 yen, one extra faceplate where she looks a tad bit more evil. Not a big difference, but you can see the difference over there. There are two faceplates for this one, and releasing this December as well. I wonder if we are only swapping out the faceplate or we are swapping out the entire head, because I would prefer to swap the entire head, if you know what I mean. Her head needs to be removable over here in order to be more lore accurate. Anyways, this is the first skill figure of Aura, I believe. They are only price figures of her, so go and get one. Yes, Q is a figure I can vouch for easily. Excellent brand. The only problem with Q is that sometimes their figures can feel very expensive. This one is still somewhat reasonable. Yeah, and their quality is excellent. I have their FGO figures, so go and get one if you want Aura. Moving on to the next one, we have a few Uma Musume figures. The first one is by Fat Company. Dansu Flame, yep, the same one we saw in One Fest. 24,364 yen, releasing in January 2027. I know that I sound like a broken record, but if you want a Fat Company Uma Musume figure, pre-order it early. Many of them become rare and expensive. You know, for such a simple figure, she does appear to be pretty attractive to me. I think it is the outfit design. So the one thing gacha characters are really good at, or rather the artists behind these gacha characters, their outfit design far surpass most anime or manga characters. More details, more unique designs and so on, sometimes unconventional designs, and they are very attractive. Anime and manga characters, they tend to be simpler for a very good reason, because they do not want to put too much pressure on animators who are adapting the anime to begin with, so the characters are simpler. Nice pose too. Simple but nice pose. I like this one a lot. I like this one a lot more than the next one by Good Smile, because the pose on this is a tad bit more bland. Okay, Good Smile Company, 1x7 scale, Uma Musume, Manhattan Cafe, Willow Green Evening, 21,600 yen, March 2027 release. And what the heck, Good Smile? Why did your photographer took pictures of this figure with that magenta pinkish background? That is a terrible match. That is a terrible color to use for this figure. At least they have these diorama pictures over here which look way better. Well, the pricing is reasonable. I mean, plenty of details on her outfit. I'm trying my best to avoid Uma Musume over here, because I don't really have money left after getting robbed by Nikke and FGO, and also Blue Archive. Right, moving on to the next figure here, one of the main highlights this week, and this figure turns out to be a lot cheaper than I expected. I was predicting 30,000 yen, so I was way off with this one. 1x7 scale Hatsune Miku Hangong Chuye version. January 2027 release at just under 26,000 yen. And yes, please pre-order it if you want it. I can see this one going up in price unless something terrible happens, something unexpected happens, like a major QC problem. Which, if that even happens, Good Smile will probably send you some free parts to replace it. So this one, pre-order it early if you want it. And those are really nice photos. I don't even collect Miku that much, but I really want this one. There is a certain kind of aesthetic to it. Yeah, it looks really aesthetic to me. Moving on to the next one, Good Smile Company again. Honkai Impact 3rd Kiana Badum Fury Wishing Star. 26,364 yen. April release. Okay, this Kiana is nice and there's nothing wrong with getting this version over other versions. And for some reason, just by looking at these pictures over here, I feel like this figure is being made by the very same team who made previous FGO and Fate Stay Night figures, you know, the 1x7 scale Saber Face figures, including Jen Diak, Soji Okita, and so on. And then, who else? Yep, that Uma Musume figure, what was the name again? Mihono Bourbon. I feel like this figure is under the same team, which means the figure is going to turn out excellent. And for some reason, each time I look at the sculpt and the paint, so I can kind of tell like which team or which factory in Good Smile is responsible for the figure. So my observation with this one is that there is a lot of good news over here. This looks like one of those saber face figures for some reason. I think it is the way they designed her base and also the way they painted the figure. They look similar. Just like every artist, they have their own unique trademark style with their character design. Something like that, yeah. I still like the Alter and the other two brands, was it Apex Toys? I still like the Apex Toys and the Alter version of Kiana a lot more because of all of the science fiction stuff going on with her character design, you know, her battle outfit. This is like just a Chinese dress, but I can tell this is a really good figure. Moving up next, Good Small Company again, Blue Archive Mari Idol version from Memorial Lobby version. This is from Wonfest, 18,000 yen, great price. April release. Okay, so this one, I know, simple pose, which is something I complain about Blue Archive figures a lot because they just follow the official artwork. But this one, you know, there is some detail going on with the outfit and two face plates. So this is a very good price. I think this is a must-have for Blue Archive fans. Solid figure over here. Moving up next, we have Good Smile Company again. Raquel Suiho, expelled from paradise, Angela Bolsek. That's what I call her, Angela Bolsek. 10th anniversary version, 25,273 yen. March release 2027. So, Angela Bolsek, I do have the Alpha Max one, came out long ago. Nice figure. Will I get this one? I'm not sure yet. But she does come with a nice base after all. Maybe. Maybe, right? Nice backside over there. So, this is 10th anniversary version, but also there is a movie. A new movie coming soon, I think this summer, which is why they are coming up with this figure. If you haven't watched the first movie, please do watch it. Unless you hate mecha and science fiction, then watch it. It is a good movie. Moving on to the next one, re-release of Bocchi the Rock Hitori Goto by Good Smile Company again. 14,364 yen this December. So are they planning to re-release only Hitori Goto or they are planning to re-release the entire cast? I hope it is everyone, right? It would be sad if only Hitori Goto is getting a re-release, but this is among my least favorite figures of her because having seen the Aniplex version, with all of the stage lights and the stage included as the base, yeah, this one feels a tad bit, not a tad bit, way more inferior, but I do get it. They are aiming for different price ranges. They are not directly comparable. People who shop for scale figures under 20,000 yen are not the same as those who shop for those above 20,000 yen, right? The ones with high budget, they will buy both the high budget and the low budget figures, but the low budget shoppers, they won't even consider the high budget one, yeah. Nothing quite wrong with this figure, just that she is simple and cheap. Moving on to the next one, Good Smile Company again. Evangelion Asuka, 17k. I was so surprised by how cheap this figure is. I was predicting, right? I was predicting 20k or so, way cheaper than I expected. March release 2027. And of course, with Asuka over here, we are going to get Ayanami Rei. They are meant to be a set, same price, same release month. 17k and March release. So these two figures, pretty accurate to the anime or the movie, nothing to complain about. And the base is good enough, right? Yeah, their base are meant to fit each other. Alright, moving on to the next figure over here, Ayanami Rei again, but this is a re-release by Claynel, 18,000 yen, December release. Did Claynel make Asuka? I think they did, right? And it is pretty weird for them to re-release only Rei but not Asuka. Normally, you would want to re-release them together. Wow, that is nice paintwork on the hair. Look at the color gradient. Very nice, but I still prefer my Ayanami Rei in short hair. I think I'm more used to seeing her in short hair after all these years. Claynel is a great brand, nothing quite wrong with this one. It really depends on which one you prefer. Of course, this base over here is going to win me over easily. Alright, moving on to the next one. Prisma Wing has two figures from Date Alive. The first one here, Tokisaki Kurumi, Succubus version, 30,000 yen, main release. And this figure does feel pretty random because Prisma Wing did not even attend One Fest. Prime One Studio did with their premium resin figures on display, but Prisma Wing did not display any PVC figures as far as I'm aware of at One Fest. So this one came out of nowhere. 30,000 yen, yes, I'm thinking the same thing as you guys too. Overpriced, but there is nothing new for Prisma Wing. We have our special satin coating on our anime figures, which is really nice to touch. Nicer to touch than your 3D girlfriend's opie. I made that up, of course, but yeah, their figures do feel pretty unique to the touch, but I'm not sure if the price here is justified despite that. And of course, we do have not Tokisaki. Yatogami Toka Succubus version, 30k, releasing in May 2027. May? Wow, 14 months of wait. Almost 14 months. But I think I would prefer a long waiting time and the figure coming out on time rather than over-promising on the release date and then delaying it over and over again 3 times, 5 times, because I prefer predictability so that it is easier for me to budget, budget my monthly waifu money of some kind. When figures keep getting delayed or they have some kind of uncertainty over the release dates, then it is a bit tough to budget, month by month. Moving on to the next one from Infinity Studio, we have 1/7 scale SSR figure, Idolmaster Shiny Colors, and Mahjong Soul. Oh, collaboration. I don't even know what is Mahjong Soul, other than guessing that it is an anime or game about Mahjong. Toru Asakura Effortless Work version. What do you mean by effortless work? She's not even working. Nice office chair, nice photograph. 18,000 yen is a great price considering you're getting the office chair over there. I do not want to touch anything idol related. I have too many things to buy. But SSR figure, their stuff are fine. Well, hopefully I will find a chance to review the figure again. Next up, by Dayu, a relatively new Chinese brand. They have a few figures on pre-order, but I believe that none has been released yet. So here we have 1/7 scale Girls Band Cry Natsuwo Mankitsu Shite Sakebe Series number 3 Rupa. 10,500 yen only, low budget figure, April release. And as usual, figures by Dayu, they come with a few extra arms or parts for you to swap out so that you can keep changing the pose like a Figma. It is like a Figma, yet it isn't. And you can store the parts in the base over there. This base over here is actually a small box for you to keep the spare parts, which is really nice, right? That is how they are differentiating themselves from the competition. And I do believe this is like their third Girls Band Cry figure, either the third one or the fourth one. Shading is pretty exceptional for a figure this low. Like, look at the pants over here, the hair. This looks like real shading to me, but we'll have to see what the final figure is like. Moving on to the next one, 1/8 scale, Kotobukiya Art FXJ Millions Knives Trigun Stampede version, 24,000 yen almost, November release. So even Kotobukiya cannot escape from the depreciating yen. Even Kotobukiya figure nowadays, they are no longer cheap, 24k for an Art FX series figure. This figure used to cost like 12 to 15,000 yen, just like right before the pandemic. Yeah, and then after the pandemic, it went up to like 18k, 19k. Now it's 24k. Alright. Of course, if you do the currency conversion and compare it to like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, the price increase is not double. It is more like 20-30% increase, right? In yen, it might have doubled, but in our currency, no matter what country you are in, the increase is more like 20 to 30%. Yeah, which is still manageable. Nice figure, but I'm not buying dudes. Moving up next, pop-up parades. We have our third Uma Musume figure here. Neo Universe L size, almost 9,000 yen, September release. Sometimes I do wonder how Good Smile choose which figure gets the premium scale figure treatment, which one gets a low budget figure, or they are planning to make them all. I have no idea. And this one, it is easy to tell that it is a lower budget figure because the white color shirt is like plain white, barely any shading, and the yellow hair is also lacking in shading, just plain yellow. But that is perfectly acceptable at this price point as long the painting is impeccable, no errors, no QC issues, and all of these fine details over here, all these yellow and gray stripes, if they paint it precisely, no errors at all, then I think that is good enough at this price point. I won't ask for more. Yeah. Very nice pop-up red L figure. And the next one here, pop-up red L, Alisa Mikhailovna Kujo from Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian. And I am already running low on patience when it comes to waiting for the season 2. 8,000 yen only, August release. Now this is the kind of anime figure or anime character where I would purchase the pop-up red L. This is a perfect example of anime and manga characters being simpler in character design, and that translates into a lower budget scale figure in a way. 10 years ago, no figure companies would make a premium scale figure of a character like this, and then by the time the figure comes out, people have lost interest of their seasonal waifu, and then they bargain bin. Nowadays, anime manga characters, they get pop-up red L first, and if the character is exceptionally popular, then you can see some scales popping up. So this is the way to go, I guess, and I won't complain because this is a really nice figure for 8,000 yen. Moving on to the next one here, pop-up red L again, Hatsune Miku and Cinnamon Roll collaboration version, 9,000 yen, releasing in June. So this Miku is pretty much unique hairstyle that is why you buy this version, and she's cute. So for Miku fans, maybe pick one up since she does not cost much. And I'm sure you guys have noticed in the recent few months or even in the recent year, pop-up red Ls are more common than the normal pop-up reds. That was exactly the feedback I gave to Good Smile in a survey a couple of years ago. I told them to make more L-size pop-up reds. Yeah, so I'm happy to see them doing that. Pop-up red L again, Joker from Persona 5 Royal, 8,000 yen, August release. Oh, that is pretty sad, Plastic God, but understandable. So I have a question for you guys, right? This Plastic God over here, we assume that they are trying to lift his cape up, not his left knee or his left leg. So some figures, right, they have a cape behind the figure, and then sometimes you get an extra plastic god to lift the cape up, and if you don't do so, the cape might sag down over time, sag down slowly and gradually because of the weight of the PVC material and the gravity, and also the material softening ever so slightly if your climate is pretty hot. So if you have figures like this where there is a cape you need to lift up with a plastic god, do you lift it up with the plastic god provided, or you ignore it, you display the figure without the plastic god? Let me know down in the comments below. I would be pretty interested to hear what you say about this one. Yeah, we are not talking about preventing the figure from leaning. We are talking about preventing a very specific part, be it a hair strand, a very heavy twin tail, or a cape behind the figure, preventing that one single part from sagging down slightly. Would you use that god or would you not? Yeah. And moving on to the next pop-up red, we have Sesshomaru from Inuyasha, a re-release, 6,200 yen. I'm quite surprised that Inuyasha is popular enough to warrant a re-release, but what do I know, right? Classic anime fans after all, there may be more of them out there than I expect. And the last pop-up red figure for this week, okay, not pop-up red, my bad. You know, one of you in my YouTube video, I'm sorry I don't remember your name, you have been pestering me about this Cinderella figure by Snail Shell Studio. And the reason why I did not cover her was because, I mean, obviously I don't cover action figures on this channel in my figure news. Otherwise, this video would be 3 hours long maybe every week. So, having seen you complain about that 2 or 3 times by now, let's talk about it. I'll make it an exception for once. So this one is a collaboration between Ami Ami and Snail Shell Studio, Nikke Cinderella action figure, 1x12 scale, 16,000 yen. And here's on Ami Ami, 15,640. Okay, pretty similar in price, 200 yen of difference roughly. So you ask me, is this worth getting? My answer is simple. If you buy or collect action figures, yes. Right? So between this and the Figma, if you are unsure and you want to ask me, should I get the Figma or should I get uh, Snail Shell Studio, or should I get Hyper X Body by Good Smile? I can't really give you an accurate answer on which one will be better among the three. Is there even a Figma Cinderella? I'm not sure, but I know there is a Hyper Body X by Good Smile. Anyways, let's assume we have Good Smile, Hyper Body X, Figma, and Snail Shell Studio over here. And you are wondering about which one will have the best quality. I think that is not the main concern with action figures. I think the most important consideration is how much you care about part compatibility. If you have 100 Figmas at home, then naturally you'll want to buy the Figma version of Cinderella because you can share the same parts with the joints, with the accessories, the faceplates, everything will fit properly, right? You can customize your figures, you can make stop motion videos, stuff like that, because you have so much accessories to share with each other. So you need to think about part compatibility first before you worry about the quality control part. But if you're buying your first action figure, you don't have any investment, you don't have any previous action figures, be it Good Smile or Max Factory, or in this case, Snail Shell Studio, then giving Snail Shell Studio a try is not a bad idea. In fact, I would put this at the top compared to the Japanese brands, and this is purely speculative, right? Chinese brands nowadays, they know that they do not have as much reputation compared to the Japanese brands that has been around for a decade or two. So in order to build their reputation, they need to make something exceptional at a lower price than usual. And when they have this urge to prove themselves, that is where you'll see products that are better value for money and more than often better quality than competitors who may be priced even higher. This is exactly what we're seeing with scale figures from Chinese brands. And I believe that action figure brands are not that different. In short, these Chinese brands, they are new, they are underdogs. So underdogs, they tend to fight harder. They need to prove themselves. And for that reason, I do feel kind of confident that going with Snail Shell Studio is not a bad idea. You may want to consider that if you can only afford one and not 2 or 3 figures of her. Yeah, so that is what I think about this figure over here. I think it is not a bad idea at all. And Snail Shell Studio has been making a name for themselves, in fact, in the world of action figures in general, not necessarily just Nikke. So now we shall move on to the Army section over here and check out some exclusive items. The first one here, Bilibili Douga 2233 Chi. Wow, they are 200 plus years ahead of us here. Okay, I'm not reading that long title over here, but this is basically an original character. And they do this almost every year. They do this unique figure of their own based on their own mascot characters, and then they are pretty pricey scale figures that are limited. Just like this one over here, 56,000 yen for 2 figures plus a horse plus a complex base. That is a reasonable price, I would say, and releasing this November. So should I pre-order this one? I would say it is a bad idea unless you can't shop on Chinese websites like Taobao because you can't read or write Chinese. So the thing with these Bilibili exclusive original character figures, I've seen it year over year, literally every year, that after these figures come out within a few months, they bargain bin by a big amount. We're talking about 50% off, half price, right? Because these characters, I suppose that they have the same problems as original characters, where people have no attachment to the character. They don't feel anything about it unless it is by a famous artist, which this is quite unlikely to be one of those. So when people don't feel any attachment, then they lose interest pretty quickly. Some people will cancel their pre-orders. And even more so, for this figure over here, this is a seasonal figure. This is to celebrate the year of the horse in the Chinese zodiac calendar. Year 2026 is the year of the horse. So this thing is coming out in November, where there are only less than 2 months left to the year of horse. And by next year, Chinese New Year, it is a year of a different animal again. And this figure no longer means anything. You see what I mean over here? It is seasonal. This figure will feel like a novelty in year 2026, but you get to enjoy that novelty for like 2 or 3 months, and then it is a different animal for next year. People lose interest, bargain bin. Happens every year. So I don't think that this is a good pre-order unless you really like the artwork over here. Yeah. Moving on to the next Army exclusive. Koi, that's not nice. You are just a low-budget Chinese figure brand. Why are you coming out with exclusivity stuff like this? You need to sell more of your figures. Anyways, this is Bishoujo Mangekyo Noro Wareshi Densetsu no Shoujo Kirie Kagari no Surupetan, I guess. 1/6 scale, just under 12,000 yen, September 2026 release. So despite the flatness of this character, I find it to be really aesthetic. I think the color scheme, the grey hair, the red cape, everything, it looks really nice. For some reason, I like it a lot. And I might get one. I might, but not now. After release, we'll see. And I'm not worried about the exclusivity part. I'm not worried about that. Can find it in China. Right, moving on to the next one. Cutie Honey Nova 1/6 scale by Magic Arts. Just under 23,000 yen. Releasing in January 2027. So this figure is not on HLJ at the time of recording. And I would say it is pretty unlikely for HLJ to list her on pre-order because this should be an ecchi figure, right? Cutie Honey is an ecchi anime, if I'm not mistaken. Like, okay, there are no pictures of this figure with her oppai exposed over here. So maybe not. So why is this not available on HLJ? I have no idea. This is a Magic Arts figure. They usually carry figures by this brand. Anyways, Cutie Honey is a classic as well, I think. I've forgotten everything I know about this show over here. Character design is lovely, reminds me of Taimanin RPGX. Moving on to the next one, this figure went on pre-order last Saturday, a week ago, and by today, a week later, not yet available on HLJ. So let's just talk about this on Army by Meteor, which is a very new brand. Echocalypse Leviathan, Captivating Melody version, 38,400 yen after a small discount, January 2027 release. I like it a lot, except for the giant balloons on the chest, way too much. They look very unnatural. So I do not mind big oppai, but sometimes there is a limit to how big things can get. I love this figure for the detail, I don't love it for the oppai size. But if this is your kind of thing, I know that Meteor does not have much of a reputation yet. We don't know what the quality is like, but they have to be pretty confident about their figure if they're asking for so much for such a new company. And yes, this is a Chinese brand. So what do you think? Will you pre-order and spend almost 40,000 yen on a figure by a new brand and from China? I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Moving on to the next one by Animaster 1/7 scale Girls Frontline to Exilum Yuhi Sweet Miracle version, 12,540 yen, releasing in November. So this one pre-order opened last Saturday as well, and a week later, not on HLJ yet. No idea what is happening. Could be a supply issue. Simple as that. So 12k for Girls Frontline 2 figure. Why not, right? It is kind of interesting that Girls Frontline is getting lower budget figures from Chinese brands like Animaster. This is not their first one. This is like their third one, I think. What about 10,000, 11,000 yen Nikke figures or FGO figures? Why is that not happening? Azur Lane 2, 1/6, 1/7 scale, 12,000 yen. But other games, why is that not happening? Why Girls Frontline? I have no idea at this point. I would be eating them up if they're making 12,000 yen 1/7 scale Nikke and FGO figures. Moving on to the next one by Hobby Sakura. Okay, this one is not available on Hobby Link Japan, and she probably will like a week later at a price that is several thousand yen higher, because this is most likely to be a resin figure, right? 31,000 yen for the DX version, and standard version is almost 29,000 yen. So why is this so expensive? I'm suspecting this to be a resin figure. Hobby Sakura has a few resin figures, and the information below this page over here is incomplete. Materials for the figure, the materials listed over there is just PU, polyurethane. Polyurethane is like a synthetic rubber to make fake skin, feels like silicone in a way, but it is a different material, polyurethane, and polyurethane is a lot more durable than silicone. So if they are using polyurethane on this figure, it can't be 100% polyurethane. The whole thing would be like rubber. It would be flexible, and PU is usually combined with resin rather than with PVC. Of course, you can combine that with PVC, but it is more common with resin, which leads me to suspect this is a resin figure. So this is up to you, whether you like the character design or not. For me, not so much, because this is just a bunny girl to me in the end. Moving on to the next one here, I'm so sad that this is not yet available on HLJ, because this is my favorite lolly this week. This is my kind of lolly. Tiger's Roar Stirs the Wind, White Tiger, illustrated by Rico. 1x6 scale by BB Buttons, just under 20,000 yen. This is the DX version. I think it is the base, right? The acrylic base with the white tiger behind, very nice. And the standard version, oh, the base is the same. Then it must be something else. Let me check. Deluxe version, wall scroll. To be expected, I guess. So I do want this one really badly. In fact, BB Buttons has a few figures that I really want, just that they're all original characters, so they are really low on my priority list. Otherwise, I really like what they have been making, and if you check out user pictures on MFC, their figures are pretty good. Yeah, Chinese brand once again. Okay, so up next, we have this pair of resin figures by We Art Doing Studio. They are also available on OSGK, and they are resin, not cheap. Pizza Ferris Cheese Supreme, 33,400 yen each. October 2026 release, and they are not big figures, they are around this size only, roughly the size of a 1x7 to 1x6 scale figure. And there is another version here, Classic Tomato and Cheese Supreme. I think the cheese is a nicer color, because you get yellow and red over here. This one, there is too much red and not enough yellow. Yeah. And I'm sorry to all of the Italians watching this, if any. I am a defender and a supporter of pineapple on pizza. Moving on to the next one, the last three figures on Ami are ecchi figures in the age restricted section, and this is already one of my favorite 1x4 scale ecchi figures this year. It is just February. Nonohara Yuka! Go and watch the H anime adaptation at least. Only 2 episodes so far, but I think there are more coming. It is amazing. It is great. Beautiful art. So, Nonohara Yuka Secret Underwear version, almost 40,000 yen by pure May 2027. Yes, I want it really badly. Even if I can't review it on YouTube, I still want it really badly. The only issue is how do I import it without getting caught by the customs. There are ways to do it. The problem is looking for a supplier or a seller who will sell it to me. Yeah. Somewhere outside of Japan, not from Japan. I can't import this from Japan. Yeah. So the face here is what I love about some ecchi figures. The love shape in their eyes. It is like they got addicted to plop plop plop. Basically, they are enjoying it. So this is my kind of figure. Yes, I know. I just complained about Big Oppai, but guess what? I think I liked the anime adaptation of this, which may be why I like this figure a lot, but I did wish that her Oppai is smaller. I can justify 40,000 yen for this one. Moving on to the next one here, Taimanin RPGX Maya Cordelia 1x6 scale complete figure, set of 2 figures for 38,000 yen, great price. By Pure, March 2027 release. So the one on the left, she's wearing like micro bikini and pretty much a birthday suit. Looks more safe for work, but the black object she is biting on has some white color stuff on it. Not exactly safe for work either. And the one on the right is basically just Hadaka, pregnant, and Ahegao face. Perfect package. And the last figure on Ami this week is Chloe, illustrated by Fujiyama, 1x6 scale by Omaha, 26,000 yen, releasing in February 2027. Wow, a lot of Chinese figures this week, despite being Chinese New Year week. And this one is customable both top and bottom. Yep, can expose her Oppai and her secret garden down there. So this is a good price at 1x6 scale, and that is about it for genuine figures on Ami. Moving on to Nin Game for Be Full Inside Fort Japan stuff. We have around 7 figures here. The first one is Futa Succubus Rubelite 1x6 scale, and interestingly, this figure is available in female version or Futa version. Both are 1x6 scales at 22,000 yen, releasing in September. And this is the normal version. Basically, you get a mark. I wanted to say the M word in Japanese, but I'm not sure if YouTube is happy with it or not. Anyways, this is the without the cannon down there. This is the one with a cannon. And interestingly, both are the same price regardless. So the cannon down there is not worth anything at all, isn't it? 0 yen. So moving on to the next one here. First blindfold play Karen Otosaka. Pretty bland and boring. Just her legs up and Hadaka. Nothing special. 22,000 yen at 1/6 scale, releasing in August. Next one here. Isekai Slave Market. They are doing a few of these figures already. Blue Skinned Succubus. 1/6 scale. 22k. Releasing in August as well. No, Insect releases like 20 or 30 figures in a single month. It is insane. But their quality is outright garbage. So please don't buy any of these things. Next up, we have Welcome to the Arrow Trap Dungeon. Liliana M-shaped legs version. 22k. August release again. And here we have two versions of this one. Common Sense Distortion Tsukishima Hotori. What do they mean by that? 1x5 scale, around 22k as well, releasing in September. This is the Hadaka version, which is the better one, I guess. And here is a Save for Work version by Forts Japan. Oh, 24k, not 22. Okay, 24k September release. She's cute. What a shame that it is made by Forts Japan. And that is all for genuine figures this week. Moving on to OSGK for third-party resin figures. There are only 5 of them, more like 4 of them only this week. And the first one here is like a licensed genuine PVC figure that is not yet on pre-order in Japanese websites. I just wanted you guys to tell me what you think. Nekoto, a new brand, and this is called Cat Playing Girl Kyoto. 1x6 scale, original character, $72. But obviously, this is just Ryo from Blue Archive without the halo on the head. That is obviously Ryo. It is like, oh, this character from Blue Archive is popular. Let's make a figure of her, but we do not want to pay the licensing cost for it. We want to keep it cheap. So let's design a character that looks exactly like Ryo without the halo, and people will buy them. That is probably what happens behind the scenes, because third parties do that pretty often, right? Sometimes they make Nikke figures. It is obviously a Nikke figure, but they refuse to mention anything related to Nikke. It is for this reason, to avoid running into potential issues involving licensing. And this is technically legal because there is no such thing as originality in art in general. There is always something we refer to as a source of inspiration. Ethics-wise, it is questionable, obviously, but legally, it is not an issue. And moving on to the next one here, YQY Studio Reze from Chainsaw Man. Pretty plain figure of her, $261 at 1x4 scale, but you can have her at 1x6 scale, $175. Okay, releasing, no release date yet. Let's have a look. 44 cm. That's pretty tall for 1x4 scale. 1x4 is usually 140 to 42 cm. I think the base is responsible for it. Yeah. Actually, the dimensions are correct. This base over here, it is adding at least 2 or 3 centimeters of height. 1x6, 29, which is plenty tall. Okay. Problem is, I'm not sure if I like her face. Okay, the face is fine. I've seen better, but the face is fine over here. I'm not happy about the pose though. It looks really stiff. It does not look natural. Yeah. And the next Chainsaw Man figure here, very cultured. Ship Girl Studio, Makima, Reze, and Power. Set of 3, 1x4 scale, $655. Or you can get them at 1x6 scale at $445. Both of which are reasonable for the pricing. You just choose whether you want it big or small. Releasing in June, which is very soon. No cast off, that's the bad news, but wow, this tree is hot. So, what are you guys doing, Ship Girl Studio? You know, this company called themselves Ship Girl Studio because they were focusing on Azur Lane. I suppose that is no longer enough. They're branching out into other characters, but for a brand called Ship Girl Studio to make Chainsaw Man figures is yeah, a bit weird to me. But the faces of these three characters are fine, just that we'll see what the final products are like. Their Azur Lane figures of the past, the one that came out, they were mostly fine in the paint department. In the face department, I mean. But the paint is more like, could make do with a bit more shading. Yeah, especially the hair. But the prototypes over here, they look pretty good in the shading department. So we shall see later on once they come out. Moving on to the next one here from Chaosha Studio, we have Asuna Yuki from Sword Art Online. $400 at 1/6 scale, very expensive. December release, but I think we can all tell why this is expensive. Yeah, the effect part, her wings and the base, there is a lot of stuff going on. And this is probably one of the better looking third-party Asuna figures I've seen. Yeah. There has been quite a few attempts by other brands on Asuna, and I'm not sure if it was a good idea because we have plenty of her figures already by genuine brands, so many to choose from. Some are rare, some others not so much, but this one is quite compelling and one of the better looking ones by a third party. But $400, I'm not sure what to think because it still feels very expensive to me. And the last figure for today is Pansu, Lolly Pansu. Coming from Impression Studio, we have Ilias Viel von Einsberg from Fate Khaled Prisma Ilya, $177 September release. Alright, so she is wearing something down there. She is not Hadaka, but she is stretching her panso. Okay, I'm gonna assume that she's not wearing panso underneath that outfit. It makes sense, right? So yes, I like this figure a lot. In fact, I want it really badly. And will I pre-order it now? I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. I have been debating myself for weeks for certain third-party figures because I'm being very careful over here on what to pre-order. They are very expensive. So that is it for figures on pre-order this week. Which one will you pre-order early? Which one will you get maybe after release at the discount? Let me know down in the comments below. And until then, if you enjoyed this video, as usual, please give it a like and subscribe to this channel for more anime figure content every week. And until then, I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.